All right, guys, so I'm going to quickly show you guys how I made this inside of Blender Octane. I'll show you also how I was able to get these lines here on the inside of the lens hood. Let's get into it. All right, here's the scene file. This is basically what it looks like. It looks like chaos. We see all these cameras. I got all these multiple cameras here. Here was the basic setup. I had a straight top-down light that was aiming straight down. And here's my backdrop, which was just a plane. Nothing spectacular there. But I also have my guy here, again, trying to build to reference to real-world scale, especially in Octane. It really helps your render times and stuff like that. Now the lens, I have to give credit where credit is due. Before I did the Winbow's 30-day challenge, modeling challenge, I probably would have went on Sketchfab and tried to find out free OBJ lens. I'm happy to say I made this whole thing myself, and it was extremely simple. To quickly show you guys how simple it was, I'll just show you roughly what I ended up doing. Was I started off with a circle. So I'm not going to make the whole thing, but I'm just going to show you what the general basic of it was. I would tab into this here, go into edge mode, extrude, E for extrude, and then we have this extruding, right? Then you press S. Now I can scale, then press E, S again. Now I got the inside of the loop. And then what I would do is jump to the side, press G, Y, and just pull that back for the inside of it, right? So now we've got this cone, this repeating E, extrude, scale, repeating this over and over and over. And then, you know, for example, you could go E, scale again, let's make a little lip, and then we'll take this lip and we'll do again, G, Y. This time we'll pull forward, like something like that, right? Whatever your mind can come up with. I'll take this outer rim, I'll go E, extrude, and then what I'm gonna do here on this one, I'm gonna go back, E, extrude, and then press Y. So now we're just gonna extrude back. So then we tab out of that. Here's what, like this thing that we made quickly, and it looks like crap. You're like, that doesn't look good at all, right? So let's shade smooth it, right? Shade it smooth, boom. It still looks like crap. Now we've lost all our detail and edges, right? No problem. So what we do is we tab in, we go to edge mode, and we've got some edges, but we want to make these edges a little bit more hard, like we're doing hard surface modeling, right? So the way we do that, if you come up here to select, you can go to select sharp edges, okay? And if you do that, you see it's selected the edges that it thinks I want to have sharp, and it's pretty much right on point. Those are the edges that I do want to have sharp. So from here, what we're going to do, let me tab that out one more time, back to object mode. Let's go ahead and make sure we confirm the scale. Control A, confirm scale, jump back in edge mode, select my edges. They're already select. Now I'm going to go ahead and press Control B, add a slight bevel, tab out, go to bevel, and now I'm going to just dial in the bevel that I want and get it the way I want it. Now I want to maintain my edges, so I'm going to go 2 segments. I'm going to make sure this is like, it's normally going to set to be 50 or 0.5. I'm going to put it to 100 because I want to maintain that sharp edge, and I'm going to bring down my edge just a little bit right there, right? And then I put this meteor outer, I put this to arc, okay? This is something I've learned during the Winbow challenge, modeling challenge that we do. Now, if we tab out, it still looks like crap, dude, right? It doesn't look smooth at all. Well, let's add a subdivision to it. I'm gonna go Control 2 with the level 2 subdivision set. Now look at that. Look at the cleanness. Look how clean that looks. Right? That's basically all I did to model this. To get the lens inside, what I did was I went into Shift A, go to Mesh, then I went to Quad Sphere. You gotta have, I think, extra objects turned on for this to work. I went to Quad Sphere, and of course it's massive, and I'm gonna scale it all the way down just so it fits inside here. Go to the front view. Then what I did was scaled it on the Y, because this is what a lens element basically is, a big chunk of glass, right? Like, so from here, we're gonna go ahead and tab back to object mode. That's pretty much in there, right? There's our lens. Now to get the multiple elements inside the lens, we're going to tab back into this, select faces. I'm going to go to the side view again. I'm actually going to press \bash on the number pad just so we can solo this. Make sure everything is selected and duplicate it in edit mode. I'm going to go duplicate Y, pull this one there. I'm going to shrink this one down, duplicate again, duplicate Y. And this is basically what's inside of a real lens in the camera. If you just go ahead and Google search what's inside of a lens, you got basically pieces of glass like this, basically, right? Tab out of that now. So there it is. In a nutshell, that's how I basically made the whole lens. The rest was all basically down to texturing. All right, now as far as the world shade, I used an HDRI from Parley Haven. I used the art room, the art workshop. That's my favorite. All right, guys, I had to switch to a photo because the renderer, running Octane and running OBS at the same time, it kills my laptop. It's just unworkable. Here is basically this shader that I used for the glass element inside of here, and you can even see I have that like color tint that happens when you look at a lens. You'll get this basically this discoloration. You get like these 2 different colors like magenta and owl. This is how I did that. So what I basically did was I came in here and made a specular material. If you go Shift A, you go down to materials, and right here, specular material. Anytime I know that I want something to be glass, I don't use a universal, I just go straight to a specular material. It helps on render resources. From there, I changed this from Octane to GGX Energy Preserve. And then after that, I came here and checked fake shadows and effect alpha. This also helps our render time here. And then from there, all I did was in the refraction here, I added in this color map basically to give this here, this color distone. You can see we got these like blue tones in this color here. This is happening because of this. Plug the gradient map into the refraction, and then from there add in a fall off map. And if for those of you coming from regular Blender cycles, this would be a layer weight node. So it's the same thing, it's a fall off map, and this basically allows us to see it at certain angles. When you're rotating this, you'll see it at a different angle versus the other angle. This is that map right here. This is what we use in Octane called a fall off map. So I have those two plugged into there, and then here on the top is the roughness, and it didn't come out in the image. Fortunately, I should have pumped it up a little bit more, but I do have a gradient map, which is a smudge map here. It's a 4K smudge map, and I just have that plugged in here using a box projection into the projection, and then I scaled it down so it's very small and it's not even noticeable in the image. So it's actually probably not even need. That's pretty much it here for the whole node. I did tweak the index of refraction here 1.7 just to get this to be more pronounced. This is not true accurate like a true glass. I think is 1.5. I'm at 1.74, so I tweaked it just so I wanted you to be able to see that other glass elements in there. I also had here this material here. I had this plastic material, and this is a metal material. For the plastic material and to also get these lines in here, let me show you how I did that. All right, so for those lines and that piece here is the main material. I used the universal material. It is basically set to the albedos kind of like gray. It's basically like a plastic material. GGX is on right there, and then everything else is stock, right? I did throw in this noise texture here on the roughness. I wanted it to be a little bit grunged out, a little bit used. Here are the settings for this texture, which work out really nice. I'm using turbulence, octave 8 with omega at 0.9, and then the gammas. These gamma and contrast, you just basically want to tweak on these until you get something that you like as far as the appearance, okay? And then down here, I have a bump node. This bump node is what's generating these lines right here that you see on the inside of lenses. These lines right here. At first, I struggled to figure out how was I going to get this to work. It turns out to be extremely easy. This sine wave texture does exactly that here. Let me actually fire up the render and try to show you what this does. Here is the sine wave texture plugged into the albedo just so we can see what's happening. And at the moment, you don't really see anything. So when I first used this, I thought this wasn't working. But then once you hook up your, XYZ to UV projection on here and then add in your UV transform, if I grab my scale, check this out. Now you start to see something happening, right? If I continue to go smaller, you can see the effect of the sine wave. This is what's happening. It's like literally making these super tiny lines here, and it changes based on your projection, right? So if we were to take this projection here, maybe just go ahead and kill this, right? Let me add in it. See, there's no projection, right? And you can see this is what's happening. I was like, okay, well, these little lines is exactly what I needed. But that was basically how I was able to get these little lines. So then again, how would we use that in the bump? Well, it's already set up. Black conceals, white reveals. White goes up, black goes down. So I would take this same node, plug it into the bump. Now it's plugged into the bump, and now you can see we've got geometry. It's actually pushing, not technically geometry, fake geometry, but it got the effect enough. It made my point. So what I ended up doing was scaling it down extremely small, just like super tiny like that. And there it is. Again, we just go ahead and change the albedo color to like that off dark black a little bit. And there it is. You can see it happening on the sides, and that's how I did that. And again, I had to do a little bit of fidgeting with the rotation. So I'll come into the rotation here, and you can see it's set to 90 because originally it was going up and down like this. So again, just come in here, tweak this. We're just gonna rotate that. Okay, set that to 90. Boom. That's how I was able to get those little lines on the inside of the lens. And then lastly, how I was able to get these little scratches here on the outer ring. Again, using some of the same techniques I used to make the dirty jar, which some of you guys may, that video is shortly still coming. Here is my base material, the plastic material. Again, I have the same material that I used on here. So all I did was take that material, I mixed it down here with this diffuse material, which is a slightly diffuse gray material. just to give a little bit of discoloration. And you can see that discoloration a little bit here on the edges here. So I take that material, this disc, and mixed it with the original. And then up here in the top, which is my blue, this is my new setup here for working on materials. Master material to a mix node, secondary material here in this gray box, mask on the top. Always. So all my mask will be on the top, my middle material will be the main material, and on the bottom will be my secondary materials. So this, and you can just take this whole section, repeat it again, and have layered, you know, grunge if you wanted to keep going. In this case, I didn't need it, I only needed one layer. Now, pumped into the amount, into mixing these here, I have this Octane dirt node, and this is basically the same thing like an ambient occlusion node in cycles. This is allowing me to get this edge here, and you can see I have it set to 3, details 5, but most importantly, I have these settings here at the bottom. It's set to all, and I'm not doing an invert on this one because I'm covering the whole thing. I want it to be, I don't want it to be on the edges. It's going to be more or less overall. And again, just use a noise texture, the noise texture again. Octaves set to 8. The higher these octaves are, the more detail it gets. If you want it less detail, you lower these octaves and you lower your omegas, basically lower these. And then playing with the contrast and then scale. And that's how I was able to get this little bit of dirt grunge. Now I did the same thing again to get these edges. These edges is a little bit different. The only thing that changes is the way we treat this dirt mask node. Let me go to that one now. Now here it is again, same setup. Here's all my mask on top. Here's all my secondary materials on the bottom. Here's my master material on the edge here. So here's the edge. This is the edge material that I worked on. This one was metallic because it was a metallic band here. So it's just the same material, but metallic. There it is, GGX, metallics at 100%. Secondary material, another metallic, this shiny steel, like scratch aluminum right here. I have that plugged into the roughness. Again, mixing up just to give it a little bit of, so it's not perfectly clean and white. And then noise, a little bit of noise in the bump to give it that little bit of an edge, just to make it look like it's rough and scratched, right, within this material. Then I take that, mix it again, mixing it with the black and mixing it, here's the silver. And then on top, another dirt node. This dirt node is set to edge mode. This is using just the edges. With I go in here, you select this from all to self and then invert normals. Here are my settings. On top of that, the edge was too clean, so I pumped into here a texture map to break this edge up so it doesn't look so clean. See how it's all jagged? That's this mask here. If I didn't do this, this will be a straight clean area, clean area, clean, clean. So this is, again, just adding some noise into this mask here and a very small amount on the radius. The radius is how far it's going to spread. I wanted it to be very tight and just on the edge. And then I added a secondary version again. I took the default material, a diffuse, this is that same dirt grunge material, and I did the opposite. Instead of doing it on the edges, which I did here, and did it overall. So just on the overall of all of here, you can see discoloration of this gray. This is this mask right here. So now it's set to all and no invert, and then again breaking up the noise so it doesn't look so perfect with the radius map and mixing it with the secondary. So I got 2 layers of grunge on this. If I zoom out, main texture, mask number 1, mask number 2, material number 2, and then material number 3. This was the metal material. This was the dust material. So I have the metal scraping on the bottom, and on top of that, I have dust and grime on top of that. And that's how we do that. And this is the same material, same setup that I did for the glass material. You can use this setup here for pretty much anything, guys. And then again, if you guys are more interested in how Octane works, you can check out this video here on how to install Node Wrangler for Blender Octane. Catch you guys in the next one. Keep rendering. Peace.